from right before there even was a dawn. So curious.
Welcome, everybody, to day 3 of the Risen Champions League. I'm Grapes, joined here by RMC. We got our third best of 3, the last of the group stage, and it's against AoE Esports and Supernova. RMC, this is a big one, especially considering the group that we're in right now.
Oh yeah, right now, Risen Champs could not have scripted this any better. Not that they're scripted, I mean, but the fact that we have the wild card civil war over in Group B here. Group D is still up in the air, and here, Group C, where we have both the AoE teams, we have Supernova, we have Dignitas Mirage as well. Everybody's 1-1, and the stories, the narrative, the history here, Grapes. There's just so much of it.
Yeah, lots of it. AoE Esports coming in to this, not really expected to see them in this situation at 1-1. They did take that surprising loss to Dignitas Mirage on the first day of competition, and that's why they're in this situation. But RMC, this is a team that definitely doesn't want to be in this situation, and for them, Supernova is not the goal. It's just a stepping stone.
Exactly. I mean, for AoE here, when the Proving Ground Summer started in Challengers Uprising, they were supposed to be a top 4 team. They destroyed their group, absolutely dismantled them, get into playoffs, and they run into their sister team AoE Randoms. They fall there. And you know what? When they lost, nobody was saying, hey, that they're a bad team. No, everybody still thinks AoE title roster is one of the top teams here. They come into Risen, and frankly, they still look like the team that lost to AoE Randoms. They didn't look like they fully recovered. They struggled a little bit. Dignitas Mirage have taken advantage of that. When we saw the round 2 of the AoE Civil War, once again, AoE Sports looked a little bit lost here. They weren't necessarily the cleanest of games. So against Supernova, they don't want to just win to make playoffs. They want to win decisively to show that not only are we a playoff team, we're still a top 4 team, and we are not going to get dragged down in groups.
Yeah, and for Supernova, if you are a little dyslexic, you might think that this is a bit of history repeating itself. Supernova last time had a bit of a struggle in the last game of group stage in Challengers Uprising against an AoE team. It's just that this AoE team was AoE randoms, but now going up against the main roster could be a bit more of a challenge. We saw that Supernova lost that best of 3 against randoms twice in a row, and especially in that first time at Cup to get them into the playoffs. And so now are seeing a bit double here.
Yeah, losing to any team would be bad. Losing to another AoE team, that's just gonna feel particularly bad for Supernova. And hey, it's not only a chance for them; it's not all bad for them, right? It's not just that hey, we need to beat them to win. It's a piece of revenge as well. If you beat the team that beat you last time by transitive properties, you got better, right? Like,
Yeah,
you're the better team now,
exactly.
right? So if they can beat AoE title roster here, they can vicariously beat AoE randoms as well.
Yeah, and Supernova are definitely going to hope to do that, make playoffs here for the first time this summer. And we are going to get into the draft in just a little bit. But before we do, it's important to note this is the first set of games on patch 11.13. And RMC, a lot of things happen in this patch. First of all, Mundo also will be enabled in this game.
Yep.
Tom Kench will be disabled due to the rework coming out on 11.13. But the big thing that we want to talk about are the split push items that got reworked.
Oh yeah, the 2 new items that came in here, Anathema's Chains as well as Hullbreaker. I'm not sure I'm pronouncing that right. We'll see how it goes. I don't think there's a confirmed way of how to pronounce that. Let's start with Hullbreaker because I think that's actually the less important item here. It is the split push item. It is what people were worried would become that sort of banner of command. But there is a big difference here. Banner of command, you just put it on a minion and you just kind of left the lane, and that gave you an extra split push lane. With Hullbreaker, you actually do have to be near the minion wave, and you have to be away from the rest of the team. There must be no allied minions nearby. So it's not as good at sieging and forcing a push here. It's only good for the split push. The other item, Anathema's Chains here. It's a defensive item with some really unique actives, the Vendetta and Vengeance here. The fact that you take less damage from a target. So basically, you designate a target. That target will become your Vendetta, your Nemesis. And over 60 seconds, so it does take 60 seconds to fully stack here, you get up to 30% reduced damage from them here. And not only that, but they received 20% reduced tenacity. It has been confirmed that you can have negative tenacity. And I believe it was on Morgana they tested it that you can actually perma CC somebody
Wow.
with those dark bindings here. So for these squishier targets, for a lot of these picks here, especially the AD carries or split pushers, Anathema's Chains can really, really mess them up. And Grapes, I know that you put up a little special here on Sketch Dreams Tristana, but I think if that Tristana comes out, Anathema's change might start messing with that win rate a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, talking about damage reduction, you're going to need it for some of the main carries that both of these teams have. Going to go down to the bot lane first. Sketch Dreams and Lynx are both players that are playing on their first, I would say, competitive teams in the Proving Ground circuit this summer, and both have kind of had a bit of a different road here, and there's just a lot of main carry potential available down there in the bottom lane.
Yeah, right now, let's start with Supernova because I think that is
Yeah.
the sort of newer player. I mean, Sketch Dreams has had some experience on Conviction and new prior to this as well. But for Lynx, Lynx has come in and has impressed me. We cast their game against Dignitas Mirage, and Lynx was a huge part of that. Just on the Ezreal right now, I think that is a champion you cannot afford to give Lynx the safety, the range, and especially with the way that we've seen Papa Chow able to play all these enchanter supports to really back that up. Absolutely massive. Has a pretty high kill or damage share for the team alongside Strumpus there. Now, for AoE, Sketch Dreams and Fizzy. This is a bot lane that I have been very, very hyped on, but I feel like has yet to really pop off. They've in their wins, they've looked good, but they can be even better here. And Sketch Dreams, I know that Grapes, you two were looking at the Tristana statistics there. I've been told by Sketch Dreams that, hey, don't sleep on his Varus either. Like he's got a lot of
Very true.
AD carry champions he can play right now, and the meta just suits him really well. We've just not seen him take over the game quite as much. His gold share is the second highest of all AD carries, right behind Short Hop from AoE randoms. But the damage share has not been up there, and Lynx has actually pumped out more damage than Sketch Dreams has. And I want to see that change. I need to see that change for this series. If AoE wants to win this in style here, I want to see each and every one of their lanes step up.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you point that out because while I do agree that a lot of the reason why the damage numbers are different are just due to the nature of the bot lanes themselves, it's also kind of partially attributed to how these teams play towards their bottom lane. On the side of Supernova, you do see a lot more attention towards the bottom lane, whereas on AoE, there's another big carry that definitely needs a lot of attention, and that is Darkwings in the mid lane.
I thought we were going with RBM for a second when you said a really big carry, RBC, RBM.
Oh,
But
that was
hey,
I missed it. I missed it.
You know what? They're basically inseparable at this point. Yeah, right. The win condition for AoE traditionally has been that mid jungle synergy there, with Dark Wings taking on the lion's share of the damage for the team. And granted, that is part of the reason why Sketch Streams has a slightly smaller damage share. And Strompest. Just last Tuesday, we saw Strompest. And I said, I believe on stream, if I recall correctly, that I said you cannot give Strompest Rise without some sort of hard counter in mind. This game is going to break that. This game is that caveat because I think if anybody in this group is going to be able to handle Strompest's Rise, it's going to be Darkwings. And I've seen this specific matchup. Darkwings actually picking Silas into the Rise. I believe it's in the wildcard combine or the AoE combine. That is a horrible matchup for the Silas, and Darkwings managed to win it that way. So I think AoE actually can afford to leave that Rise up for a change here. And Strumpus has to level up. Strumpus has to be that big carry because he is, again, alongside Lynx, the main carry for Supernova. If you lose one of those two legs here, Supernova really tends to struggle in trying to output the damage in the mid to late game team fights.
Yeah, and the draft, as you said, is really important for both of these teams. But I would say more specifically towards AoE, they definitely kind of have a set idea of how they want to play the game, and some of their drafts can make or break whether they win or lose.
Yeah, and well, the drafts for these two teams as well, they're not particularly crazy. They are generally quite standard and tailored to how the team likes to play here. Sorry, just wanting to confirm, we there are some name changes, and unfortunately, we're not on Tournament Realm, so sometimes players
Yeah.
play it on alternative accounts. We've got Dopey Dinks, which I'm assuming is Lynx right now, but I'm not 100% sure. And we've got Andrew Foreman coming in as Supernova's support. I don't believe that's Papa Chow.
That is an interesting point. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that's not Papa Chow's like even real life name. So it'd be weird to see him kind of think of another name to put there as his league username. We will try to receive confirmation of who is actually playing because obviously that is really important.
Mhm.
But either way, I mean, if we're going to talk about the bottom lane, Papa Chow and Fizzy are some of the other members of that bot lane that we have not talked about specifically. Fizzy, obviously part of TSM Academy last split, has gone for a lot more of these engaged champions, while on the side of Papa Chow, we've seen a little bit more towards the peel, towards protecting lanes, which is similar to the playstyles that we were talking about a little bit earlier.
Yeah, and both of them have done a really solid job of that. Fizzy, actually, I think more than just peeling, is also one of the primary engages for the team, or the follow-up engages, because usually RPM is the one who goes in. Whether or not he should be the first one in is a different question, but he usually is, leaving Fizzy as follow-up. Whereas Papa Chow has been really favoring those enchanters here.
Yeah.
We have received words that is not Papa Chow. Papa Chow is unfortunately not able to play this game. They are
Oh,
playing
yeah.
their sub. That is Rovex coming in here, and I don't believe we've seen Robex play with Lynx just yet this summer split. So I'm curious to see how this changes up. The champion pool might be a little bit different here as well between these two supports.
Yeah, and not even that. It's just I feel like it's weird that we even see Rovex in the support role. I know Rovex came into the Supernova lineup as that
Mhm.
5-man flex sub, but traditionally we've been seeing him towards the mid lane on
Yep.
on these teams like Redemption Arc and Columbia. So it'll be weird to it'll be a little bit interesting to see how a mid laner like Rovex is able to transition his play towards that bottom lane. I wonder if some of the champion pool overlap between those two roles will play an impact in the draft as well.
Yeah, and if anything, I think it's good. It's a good thing that Papa Chow likes to play enchanters, because if you're a mid lane transitioning to the support role, it's easier to pick up the supports, right? Like Lulu, Karma, their champion, Seraphine, who get played both mid and support as well. So your style doesn't have to change as much. Whereas things like the Leona, the Nautilus, we've not seen the mid. Recently, I mean, Nautilus mid was a thing after Worlds, was that 2019, but that
Yeah.
was a while ago, right? Very different Nautilus. So this at least fits their style. And I wonder if we'll see a pinch here in the draft coming through from AoE. You take out things like the Ezreal here, maybe the Kog'Maw, maybe the Jinx, and suddenly those Enchanter supports become a lot less valuable here.
Well, we do have draft here on the screen. Supernova will be taking the red side, AoE on the blue side, starting things off with that Akali ban, one of the most crucial bans against Supernova, as Strampus and Cozy are both very comfortable on that.
And then speaking of those sort of bans, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see a Viego potentially come out as well here. That is something we've seen flexed around. Though, to be fair, Viego has also played, Darkwing's partner has also played Viego really well. And they are blue side, so they do get first pick. The Nocturne ban coming out as well for the side of Supernova has been a staple. And I feel like for Supernova, you're mostly looking to ban meta champions. Rumble, however, doesn't need to be banned. Did get nerfed a little bit this patch, and I'm so far not super stoked when I see the Rumble now. The way the initial
Yeah.
jungle clear is just too slow to effectively get ganks off.
Yeah, and the biggest thing is that scrap shield nerf going from 6 to 7 seconds makes it almost impossible to get that overheat level 1 and even just get overheats in general. And as you said, the clear definitely has been impacted by that. And while Maddie hasn't played too much of the Rumble, RBM definitely a big factor on that champion as the first phase of bans have concluded.
Okay, I'm gonna be honest with you right now, Grapes. I'm really happy we didn't see the Karma or the Lulu go through here, because Faisal's been kind of reduced to support duty
Yeah.
in their game against AoE randoms, and I didn't like it. I think Faisal plays tanks, plays bruisers pretty well here. Weak side, yes, but still has more impact, I feel like, than these support picks. We do see the Shinzao picked up, and so Maddie's newest champion that we only saw him play last week against Digmig has been removed here.
Yeah, that's interesting to point out there because Maddie's champion pool hasn't been the widest, but this is a bit different. The Diana coming in,
Okay.
I do like this coming out from Maddie. Some of the criticism around him has been his inability to play some of the newer champions in the meta, things like the Rumble. But now that this Diana has come in, not only does it serve as partially a flex, but especially towards that jungle position, another very strong pickup for Supernova.
And the Diana as well has been something that RBM has defaulted to a lot. My only problem with this is that Shinzao counters
Oh,
Diana. You normally pick Shinzao to beat the Diana early here, and instead Maddie's picked it into the Shinzao. I don't know about that one, especially in the early game. Camille already been picked up for Cozy, and Cozy, we've seen a lot of Leeson out of him. I'm not sure the Camille blind is what I wanted to see, but maybe they're trying to deny it away from Faisal.
well, we were talking about split pushers, RMC, so it looks like
True.
Cozy was listening to you just a little bit. I know that Cozy did play a lot of that style of champion, things like the Camille and the Aurelia back on 100 Thieves, and oh no, RMC. I think
Grapes!
there's a bit of a problem here. Sketch streams on the Tristana.
Grapes, you mad prophet. Supernova apparently not following you on Twitter there. Didn't see your video. They've let that one through. And I I noticed it went through. And I didn't want to say a thing because I didn't want to curse it. And I wasn't sure if they were going to pick it since you've already called it out here. But they do. It can still be flexed mid. I do want to put that out there. It's possible. But given the stats, I don't see why they would. Renekton picked up for Faisal once again, and I like it. Like I said, I prefer to see Faisal on these bruisers here. Renekton isn't exactly a weak side champion though, and I want to see Faisal win the top lane because so far we've not had a chance to see very much of that.
14 and 1, 730 damage per minute, 223 GXD at 10 minutes. Sketch streams is not someone you want to mess with on this Tristana. I'm honestly pretty surprised to see them let that go over to AoE's side. But on the other side of the draft, Lucian getting picked up has also been a champion that Strampist has had banned away from him.
Oh, we got baited. Okay, so I was going to bring up the thing about Lucian being one of the biggest bans against Supernova. It's been banned, 6 times against them, but it's not the Lucian. Apparently, they are saying it's Rise for Strumpus here, and we're talking about
my point remains.
Pretty much here. We were talking about the fact that hey, that's something that needs to be banned, but. Like I said, if there's ever a player to be able to handle that, I think Dark Wings is definitely one of them here. So as good as it is for Supernova right now, I think in isolation, I'm not going to get too excited. And you did just give Dark Wings the potential to counterpick it.
Well, it looks like the bot lane, not the mid lane, has been the target of the second ban phase. Braum going to get taken away from Fizzy, but still has those champions like the Alistar and the Leona on the table. Oh, as I say that, Alistar taken away. And it'll be interesting to see what the bot lane of Supernova do because Rovex is subbing into that support role. Looks like Thresh is going to be one of the targets here, and maybe that's a champion that he's familiar on.
And that does mean that the Ezreal here is open, Grapes. Nobody picked it in the first round, which is a little bit surprising. Ezreal is the most played AD carry right now throughout all Risen champions. And granted, you took the Tristana, and I appreciate that for the side of AoE, but you also didn't ban it against Supernova here, so they're going for the center. And once again, reminder, Tom Kench is currently disabled here, so I'm very curious to see what do they pair with this. I know, Grapes, you're mentioning that Lee Sin is a potential pickup here to pair alongside that center right now.
Yeah, has been played a couple times in the LCS, even the LCK, but there's still a lot of different possibilities that this Senna can bring. First of all, we could see a farming Senna. I know it's something that we have not seen super often, especially in the recent meta. Or we could see it even go onto Rovex, one of the players that maybe doesn't have as wide of a champion pool in that support role. But there's so many different possibilities. If we're talking about AoE, that Maokai is something that gets paired up with the Senna quite often, but it looks like for AoE side, Fizzy will get his hands on the Leona.
And now it's the mid lane here. What are they picking for Dark Wings to go in with this team? They very badly need some magical damage here. They're very heavy on the physical so far. Renekton, Shinzao, Tristana, all great picks here. And whatever they pick has to be able to go into Rise. I know I said that Dark Wings has won the Silenced Rise matchup, but I really don't want to see it again. It is a very, very tough matchup. And of course, I was thinking full dive comp. No, they've switched it back to an AoE composition. You've got your ball delivery systems with the Renekton, with the Leona. AoE living up to their name. They're just looking for a straight area of effect team fight.
Well, as the name suggests, and a bit of a return to last split on these control mages. It's going to be a Rise Orianna mid lane. I feel like that's something that we haven't seen too often in this summer split. But now with B5 Supernova here, R5, sorry, Supernova, is going to be Rovex on the set. And we're talking about champions that both play in the mid and support role. Set is definitely one of them.
Yeah, that's it. It'll most likely be a set support here because we already know the Rise is going mid. But generally speaking, that is one of the pairings you can go with the Senna. It is fairly safe, and it does very well into the Leona. I like it especially because Leona Tristana, Trist wants to jump in, and if you're in range of that set there, you can just kind of grab both, pull off the face breaker there, and all of a sudden both of them get stunned up. You can disengage and reset a little bit. And it also gives them a bit of that counter engage or that disengage that the team needs against all these divers. When that Shinzao is diving your line, when that Renekton is diving your backline, you need something to help disengage. And up to this point, they didn't really have that yet. Diana and Camille want to go in. They don't want to stay back and peel. So Supernova, good flex on their last two picks to try and deal with what's coming in. But I do think that they will lose out in a lot of these straight up fights. And their early game is going to be weaker, so AoE can just kind of choose any lane to gank and be comfortable knowing that they will have the edge in that.
Well, I did just do a little bit of quick research once we found out that Rovex was going down into that support role. And even though this set is a champion that can go into that mid lane, Rovex has not played it in this year at all, in terms of all the games he played in collegiate as well as amateur. So I still think that Rovex has a wide enough champion pool for this to have definitely be in the repertoire. But it'll be interesting to see this set paired up with Lynx's Senna in a bot lane that we haven't seen so much at all.
I just love it, Grapes, right now. Like all the narratives, we're talking about all these storylines that the teams have. The fact that the top laners have been kind of put on weak side champions for the most part. The jungle matchups, Rise for Strumpus, Tristana for Sketch Dreams, the bot lane. All of it's happening in game one. It's a best of 3, Grapes. We still have 2 more games after this, but this game 1 is already going to be absolutely titanic head to head. It's going to show a lot about these teams, and considering that I think both teams got away with what they wanted for the most part here, I think it's going to be very, very telling. If AoE can force these team fights, if they can get there, I think they win this decisively here. And Supernova, they've got to find ways to try and stall out, buy the time for them to scale, and they've got to find ways of making sure their front line just doesn't get absolutely crumpled into the back line and deleted off the map here. They need to have appropriate spacing with that Senna, with that Rise, and the positioning of these 2 carries to me is going to be the key point for Supernova.
Well, you were talking about stalling just a little bit, and another point that you brought up earlier were these new split push items, and just going for a 1-3-1 here for Supernova wouldn't be the worst thing. You have a lot of a lot of wave clear on the Diana and even the Senna and set, and then you have the Rise. Once again, the Rise, the Lucian in the mid lane will be Rise for Supernova's Strumpus, and Cozy's Camille, just to kind of go for some of that and try to delay the sort of death ball composition that AoE have set up.
Yeah, and if anything, I think these new items, specifically Hullbreaker, would probably be better for Cozy here with that Camille. Camille is not exactly a huge team fighting monster. Yes, you can dive the backline, set up the Hextech ultimatum for your team, and with something like the Moonfall, that can be devastating. It guarantees you a single target lockdown, but at the same time, I don't see Cozy really joining the team fights too much. That's not where you want to be. You want to get ahead. You want to be able to handle that Renekton. And whereas the Anathema's chains here, that I'm expecting to see built potentially on both these top laners. For Faisal, I think you designate Strumpus as your nemesis there, because you're more worried about that shotgun, machine gun Rise just bursting you down. If you can ignore a lot of that, suddenly that Rise, which relies on being able to stand and out damage you, is going to be put in a very bad position. 30% damage reduction is nothing to scoff at here.
Yeah, definitely not. And it looks like we're almost all ready to go here. Once again, RMC, this matchup is so crucial for both of these teams. Supernova and AoE both don't want to go home today. Both want to be in the quarterfinals tomorrow, but neither of them will get that without a win in the best of 3 today. We got game 1 in just a couple of minutes. We'll take a short break. We'll be right back on Summoner's Rift. Welcome everybody to Summoner's Rift. We've got game one in this best of three between Area Effect Esports and Supernova. I'm Grapes, joined here by RMC. This is, as we said before, a lot riding on this best of three, and taking a look at some of the matchups here, a little bit of some interesting summoner spells.
Yeah, but I think before we get into that here, Grapes, there's some interesting names we should probably
True.
clarify here because, again, we're not on Tournament Realm. There were some last-minute changes here. So on the blue side, it is going to be AoE Esports. It's Faisal on the top lane. Really big meme in the jungle. Dark Wings in the mid lane. Sketch Dreams as AD carry. Fizzy as support here. And on the other side, Supernova's got Cozy Shroud in the top lane. Maddie in the jungle, Strompest in the mid lane. And here's where the names get weird. Dopey Dinks is Lynx. That is their regular starter AD carry. Andrew Foreman is Rovex. Who is Andrew Foreman? I don't know, but Rovex is their sub, who we were talking about here. Papa Chow, unfortunately not here for this critical tie-breaking game of the group.
We tried to do some research of who is Andrew Foreman on Google. If anybody in chat has some sort of answer for us, please, we would love to be enlightened. But taking a look once again at some of the matchups, it was a typical standard 5-point start for both of these teams. It will be Maddie starting on the top side, RBM starting on the bot side. So looks like a bit of an opposite map situation will occur.
Yeah, and that really favors Maddie here for the most part. We'll have to see if RBM is able to track down this Diana, because Xin Zhao in that 1v1 is gonna win it pretty much at all stages of the game here. So it really benefits Maddie to not have to deal with that and to not have to contest the scuttle. Now, Grapes, you mentioned as well, summoners, interesting summoners here. So why don't you go ahead and let us know, what do you think is interesting here?
Well, the biggest thing here is the TP Ignite on Cozy's Camille. This was something that was relatively popular, especially at the beginning of the season. There were a lot of memes with Blabber always punishing the TP Ignite Camille's, but speaking of the bottom lane, there are some interesting summoners there, as there's a trade there as well. Exhaust for Lynx, combining with the Ignite, so no heal, no cleanse.
Yeah, and the cleanse actually sitting on Sketch Streams here, and we were talking a little bit about it, Graves, when we were loading to game. I'm not personally a huge fan right now of the heals on ADCs necessarily, and I appreciate the exhaust, but I really feel like when you're running into a Leona, more than the exhaust, you need a cleanse, because the moment that Leona is on you, you're relying very heavily on Rovax being able to peel them off, but it doesn't help you against a solo flare, and it doesn't help you in a gank situation.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how that works out here for both of these bottom laners. But taking a look at the jungle right now, it's going to be RBM going for a bit of an unorthodox path, skipping both of those side camps in the Gromp and the Krugs, which means he has early time to go towards this top lane.
Hey man, like you said, Blabber's gonna punish those flashless top laners. RBM took some lessons. He's right up there immediately. You can see how far they're zoning out Cozy. Cozy doesn't even know where RBM is exactly anymore. The moment that ward goes down, RBM can walk out like he is right now, and Cozy is still up there.
Oh, this is brutal.
Has to be scared.
This is not a fun time for Cozy. You'd think with the Ignite you'd have some sort of lane priority, but if the jungler is pathing towards this top lane, definitely not the case here for this Camille. And it's just going to be a 3 waves in a row proxy for Faisal, a big advantage in the top side.
And I want to highlight the fact that Faisal continued to do that even after RBM left, because it's a mental game, right? You don't have vision. You have to play scared, and Cozy was just like, I think I got this. I'm going to kick you and see if you back off. Faisal finally does have to back off, but you bought enough time. You did lose, what's that, 2 full waves there to your turret. And unfortunately for you, Maddie wasn't able to make anything happen on the bot side. You just kind of got the scuttle, and that's it.
Yeah, the only thing that you could maybe argue is that RBM is now down a camp because he didn't end up taking the Krugs, but they're both back at the same time. They both pick up similar levels, powerful items, I would say, and so now they're just both back on the map. The first Krugs will still be there for RBM. The second Krugs will be up for Maddie.
Yeah, and for RBM here, you can't afford to fall a bit behind in terms of your personal power. You're going to still win the 1v1, and if your lanes are ahead, that's what you need to do as a jungle. In fact, RBM right now tracking towards the bottom side, because clear the top side, there's all the camps down here, and you can look for those ganks as well on the bot side. We've not seen that Leona Tristana combo really pop off yet, but I'm waiting for it here. This is Sketch Dream Tristana, and you know what? Gotta live up to that hype video.
I mean, it looks like we're gonna see some of it now. The base breaker in onto 2. This Lynx is so low, and the explosive shot, that's Tristana that we know and love as Sketch Streams will use the rocket jump out safely. Looks like Rovex is not done here. Remember, he's the one picking up the farm, so he does have a decent amount of damage, but the Zenith Blade in from Fizzy could signal a bit of danger. RBM is here, does have the Wind Becomes Lightning, will not end up using it. It looks like just for now it's a 2v2 kill in the bottom lane, but RBM wants to push this wave up and look for more.
I want to say that the exhaust did nothing, Grapes, but I've got to also point out that Cleanse wouldn't have done anything either. The burst damage there was just way too massive, and that's the problem. That was my concern here, is with Papa Chow not being here, you're relying very heavily on Rovex being able to kill for you. Didn't happen in that fight, and until I see Rovex get a good face breaker off and actually disengaging properly here, Lynx doesn't get to step up. You don't get to go for those souls here. You are risking your life each time you do that.
Yeah, and it's pretty scary right now for the bot lane of Supernova, knowing that they have so much all-in potential, still have that flash on Fizzy as well, but it looks like Fizzy's going to be taking his talent somewhere else. But meanwhile, in the mid lane, Shockwave already used, RBM's going to use that Audacious Charge to get in, flash to follow,
Wow.
Wind becomes lightning, and 2 kills in a row. Meanwhile, on the top side, looks like Fizzy has finally made his journey up to this top side, and they're going to go for a kill onto Cozy. No ultimate means no life, and in just a couple more autos, Faisal would make it 3-0.
That is illegal. the roam up from the support. And the question is normally, how can you allow your support to just roam up here without an answer, right? We have to remember, this is a Senna, a fasting Senna here. So Rovex doesn't get to roam out the way the support normally gets to do that. And Lynx was looking in the mid lane, wasn't looking top. Cozy Shroud gets bullied down, and they can repeat that over and over again. Strompus
will get hit up by the charge. 1 auto, 2
Faisal?
autos. Not going to get the third, but the stun forward from Faisal. Strompus is going to try to use that ultimate, but he did not get away. And now Cozy is going to try and spot out the rest of the AoE top side, but he has no support here. He doesn't even have that hook shot. Going to use it over just barely. RBM is 1 auto away, but with that smite will heal up just fine and steal that red buff.
Maddie's not 6 yet.
Yeah, he's not. Dark Wings is going in. Maddie tried to go for a red buff invade of his own, but Dark Wings is there. Red Bull 1v1 champion, they're getting another solo kill.
And just a bunch of, I want to say, misplays potentially. Rovex?
Oh, this could be a bit dangerous for Sketch Streams. It looks like the flash forward from Rovex is going to be pretty huge. Lynx still has some of the autos here, going to try and hit him up with the piercing light. The regen coming out from the Senna, from the set, is crucial for Supernova to stay alive.
Set is broken. Rovex shouldn't have been able to survive there. And look at how healthy Rovex is already. They're going to need that health because this bot lane's not going their way. While all the action was happening, Graves, we should also point out that first Drake did go down. It was Cloud Drake, and it was picked up here by the side of Supernova. So despite being 5-0, they aren't completely lost. It's not a perfect game anymore, technically, for AoE.
Oh, teleport coming in. They know that Rovex has ult, and that means that they have to be careful. And it's going to be Dark Wings coming in. Does have the shockwave if he gets the right opportunity. Will land it onto Rovex, but the ultimate back from the set could be in danger. That's Lynx picking up a kill in return. That's not a bad trade for Supernova, but the kills and the gold are still in AoE's favor.
Yeah, TP burnt from Dark Wings, though, to get down there, and Stomp is going to have a slight edge in that. The question is, what can you do with that lead here? Normally, if you have a bit more of a global advantage, you want to see that Rise roam top, get that Realm Warp, or Maddie invade with the backup of that Rise. But 6-1 down, you're not going to be able to do that here. And we do have a bit of a disconnect, it looks like, coming through, but everything seems to be fine. I guess the delay worked, and we're still in it.
Well, yep, right now, 8.5 minutes into this game. It's going to be AoE Esports up by a lot, and we do have a bit of a pause. It looks like his internet is being a little bit uncooperative, I would say, but the rest of his team is being very cooperative and helping him win this game 1.
Oh, yeah. And that gives us time a little bit to talk about what we've seen so far here, Grapes, because it's been the AoE show so far from start to finish here. And we talked about the fact that they've got winning lanes pretty much in every single lane here, and they took advantage of it right away. Strompus doesn't get to do too much here. You are on that Rise, and the Orianna matches your wave clear. Maddie loses that 1v1, and right away they start punishing Cozy. They've unlocked Fizzy as well. This is the Fizzy I want to see, not just somebody who has to sit there and babysit Sketch Streams, but instead you get to roam out and you get to start applying pressure. And Sketch Streams doesn't need to be babysat. Well, even in CS against Rovex here, but is up in kills, up in pressure as well. And at least in the foreseeable future, in the next 5 to 10 minutes, should remain ahead of Lynx of Rovex here.
Yeah, and the Fizzy, even on TSM Academy and some of the other teams that he's been on in these previous years, has been known for a lot of these engaged supports, roaming around the map, making plays. And with Sketch Streams on his signature Tristana, really allows for that kind of play style to emerge. He's still doing rather well, as you said, in terms of that tempo. And there's not a lot going for Supernova on the other side of the map. Sure, they have that scaling potential with things like the Rise, things like the Camille, and even with the Senna. But if you look at it, you can't scale if the game ends in 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's very true. And the concerning parts, we've not even seen AoE force all of Supernova at an objective fight, right? These are individual picks that are happening here, but AoE's comp is, well, literally an AoE composition. So they want to meet you on open ground. They want to have that 5v5. Supernova, good news is they took first drag. And it doesn't
Yeah.
sound like that big a deal, and especially when it's Cloud Drake. But first of all, Cloud Drake's most efficient and on that rank 1 ultimate. So that's always good. And secondly, more importantly here, taking that early dragon slows down dragon stacking.
Absolutely.
So that particular win condition for AoE gets set behind, and you do buy yourself a bit more breathing room. You can afford to sacrifice, say, the next 2 dragons in order to buy time to scale up here. The issue, though, is you need to stem the bleeding in your lanes. And I think step 1 for that is vision. Cozy needs vision to be safe here. We talked about the fact that the Camille late game split pusher threat, there's not a great answer to it coming through from the side of AoE here. So if you can allow Cozy to reach that level, that's step 1 of your stall plan.
Well, it looks like the pause will be resolved in just a little bit. But yeah, definitely talking about this top side matchup. The whole reason that Maddie was even able to get that dragon on the bottom side was because Faisal was getting a lot of attention from RBM up there. First, it was the zone at level 3, allowing Cozy to miss those crucial 2 waves to get himself some sort of advantage. And then after that, it's just been time and time again, back up top, getting RBM these kills.
Yeah. And, Grips, you mentioned it's 2 waves that Cozy lost initially. That has resulted now in a 2-level difference. Faisal is up 2 levels here, and that's not fun when you're being left up on an island. AoE doesn't need to revisit that lane. All they need to do is basically make sure that Maddie doesn't revisit that top lane. Maddie doesn't get to go there and influence anything here. Herald is up and available here, Grapes. And I think for the side of AoE, in order to speed up the game, you don't want to let things keep going here. You look at that Herald and you look to take a turret, preferably maybe not the top one. You want to leave Cozy up there in that extended lane. Try and break maybe the mid lane turret. Or, hey, if you want to unlock Sketch Streams to be that demolition crew, then take that bot lane turret.
Yeah, and all that pressure towards the top side of the map will mean that the Herald priority will definitely be in AoE's favor, but it looks like a bit of a lane swap has come out here. Lynx is headed towards this top side of the map, while Cozy and Faisal are still here. Look at that, it's 3 levels now.
Oh man, that's just going from bad to worse. You can see Lynx trying to help out, but yeah, you don't want any piece of that if you're Lynx and you're Cozy. That might actually be a double kill. They're sending Strompus up here. That's 3 members. Everyone's here. Sketch Streams is just getting a free bot lane.
Yeah, and this is one of the things that has received a lot of debate in the League of Legends community. Is it worth it to rotate your entire team up towards that Rift Herald if you have the enemy bot laner getting free farm and getting free plates?
For the side here of Supernova, I understand why they're doing it, and I don't think it's a bad decision. Like we said, AoE wants to take that Herald and speed up the pace of the game. If you can deny them from doing that, it's kind of worth it because you're not too worried about Rovex falling behind in levels and gold. He is set. He's low econ. And for Lynx here, again, as long as you're getting souls, your Senna is good to go. So it's not quite as detrimental as it is for maybe other AD carries.
Looks like, once again, RBM and the rest of AoE will be headed towards this Rift Herald. Rovex has matched that bottom lane with Sketch Streams, and looks like after all of that, it's just going to be an uncontested Rift for AoE. The question is, what can they do, and what side of the map are they going to want to unlock?
After all that effort, Grapes, I feel like not only
we built it up so much.
Yeah, I know, it's like great setup doesn't happen, and Cozy has to be careful here. You know that Herald just went down. You know you're low on health. That's not a good position, and you're very, very diveable. Maddie is roaming up. Strompus is roaming up as well. And once again, Darkwing's getting free lane.
Well, Fizzy's back up towards the top side as well. RBM does pick up that Rift Herald, and it took so much to try and keep Cozy alive. But look at this, down on the bottom side with Fizzy up there, trying to support Faisal and the rest of his team. Sketch Streams is now a bit choked out here and is going to lose a little bit more.
I think Sketch Streams is fine. You're kind of low on health for the most part, but a Herald drop needs you're going to get first break right away. And the dive potential from this Senna combination isn't that big a deal. You don't have somebody else for Rovex to sort of show stop into you for that engage here. So that's okay. Fizzy about to rejoin you as well. And RBM looking once again for the bot side. Is there any vision here for Supernova? No, this is not a safe push any longer.
Because he does have the Hex Flash, but it looks like the wave is going to get pushed in by Supernova, and they're going to try and back off, and it looks like RBM knows just that. He's going to go and just clear some of that bot lane jungle. It's important to note that the second dragon of the game is an Infernal, which means we will get either an Ocean or a Mountain, but before we get into that, there's a little bit of an interesting itemization choice I want to talk about. Rovex on this set support goes for the nerf Strikebreaker.
I didn't even notice that, Graves. That is interesting. So, Strikebreaker on this patch, the gap closing portion of it was taken away. Instead, the slow was buffed up significantly here. And I guess technically you're not a true support, so you do end up picking that because you do need some sort of item here. You've got a gap closer yourself. It's kind of worth it. Busy.
Well, the second dragon was picked up by Supernova. That is big. Now the question is, what can AoE do in return? We see RBM was a little bit late to that play, but now is headed back towards the bottom lane. That's Solar Flare landing already onto the Lynx, and it looks the Facebreaker in from Rovex will stall a lot. RBM is fighting 4 people and winning as Maddie goes down. He will fall in return, but here come the TPs from Cozy. Does have the ultimatum, already used it on to RBM. It's a 1v1 so far, but look at the other sides of the map. It's going to be Faisal pushing in and Darkwing's picking up that first turret.
Yeah, they had to commit so much resources. And that is ultimately here, Graves. Still a 1-for-1 trade. That wasn't even that big a deal. Cozy canceled the teleport. The recall, I mean, pardon me. So that is top lane pretty much guaranteed dead.
Oh yeah, now you have to go in. If Cozy is left here in the bottom side, they have the Ignite taken onto Fizzy. But that's an explosive shot from Sketchstreams as well. A bit of a desperation play here for Supernova. They know that they have to make some action happen here in the bottom side as the rest of their base goes down.
They're losing so much off this particular play here. The gold lead now 5,000 gold grapes at 13.5 minutes. And not only that, Lynx and Rovex, they're not even comfortable to back, because if you do base, that Tristana can shove. Maddie?
Oh, Maddie's got to be careful. Does have the flash, is going to use it preemptively to prevent that any sort of re-engage here. Dominance was available onto Faisal as well. And now Strumpus looking to just try and push AoE out of their own. Oh, Faisal. We're going to pretend that we didn't see that one. Oh, don't zoom in on him, hey.
I mean, the rip buff was there. I guess you're just trying to help Faisal, you know, get to that rip buff a little quicker. That's all it was. Great teamwork, great teamwork. Faisal isn't going to be a sad croc, though. Is going to be able to disengage. And, okay, so we should keep tabs to top lane. Again, 2-level lead. The CS differential here, 60 CS difference. Cozy doesn't get to play the game, and Maddie doesn't have a topside jungle anymore.
Fizzy once again back on one of the roams. It's going to get rooted up by the W here from Lynx. Strumpus will be able to pick up that blue buff rather uncontested. And now just still, Supernova are definitely in the hole here, and it really allows for AoE to make a lot of these aggressive plays like what we just saw from Fizzy. We might be seeing a little bit more. He's continuing to invade.
Yeah, I mean, at this point here, AoE just need to set up for the bot side. You know there's no TP on Strumpus. You know there's none on Cozy. You see Cozy pushing top lane, you just force the fight.
Oh, too far in Lynx was, and that means the Shockwave will take him down, and now Maddie's going to hit him with the Solar Flare as well. He has nowhere to go but in. In is where you go to die. Darkwings picks up his 3rd kill of the game, and it's all AoE in game 1.
Better to die with honor here. Graves, Maddie knew he was dead to rights. Flash already blown here. Why not engage? Yes, the Moonfall was a bit much, I think. But at the same time, the only objective that's going to be up in time for that is maybe the Herald Cozy.
Gonna try to make a play on the Faisal here. Strumpus has joined the party, but it's gonna be a TP response here from Darkwings, and that means the Supernova are gonna have to run out. No Realm Warp available onto Strumpus, so he's gonna have to use his little feet and get out there the normal way.
I feel like Supernova was a little lucky that Darkwings actually ultimately teleported top lane, because I don't think you kill Faisal. Dominus is available, and you could see the desync. Cozy went in a little bit early there, and you're under turret. You're tanking that. You don't win that. Again, I need to emphasize this. No teleports for the solo laners of Supernova. Herald's coming up in 40 seconds, and AoE has been just wanting that big fight for so long now.
Well, it looks like they will look on to Faisal. Dominus has been popped, and he's doing a decent amount of damage to the Supernova mid-jungle duo, and RBM is also here. It's now a 3v3, but the health bars are pretty low on AoE, and Supernova are going to go forward, but look at the damage, look at the healing from RBM. A double kill already for Faisal, and he's looking for a 3rd. Strop is going to get stunned up and taken down as Darkwings picks it up.
We still, Grapes, have not seen a 5v5. 12 to 2 right now, and it's just AoE finding win after win after win. They could not kill Faisal outside of a turret. They were not gonna kill Faisal under a turret.
Now RBM. Can they kill RBM? I don't think so. They pick up the red buff. Lynx is kind of still stacking up on those Senna souls, but not enough really to make any sort of impact this early on in the game. And so because of that, Supernova really are in a bit of a disastrous spot. It seems like anytime they want to go in or do anything, it gets responded with super ease.
Yeah, pretty much. AoE's just always together here. When you think they're alone, not really. They've done a great job of arranging their lanes such that they always have backup here. The moment Darkwings used to teleport, you could see they start shading to that solo lane for the most part, and Sketch Dreams is protected by all these wards. Dragon's up. Dragon's gonna go down, and my goodness, Maddie, that isn't even Shockwave.
Oh, what?
My
Yeah,
goodness.
Maddie goes down again. 5th time this game as Darkwings has started to unlock a lot of his damage already. 2 items completed. That Seraph's already fully stacked so early on. Just means that he's going to be so powerful in all these sides, all sides of the map. We were talking about how mage items aren't that good, but if the more items you have, doesn't matter how good they are.
Yeah, I mean, mage items are also cheaper now, so they're easier to get, patch 11.13 and all that here. And for Supernova at this point, look at their vision, or the lack thereof. Most of the jungle is actually dark to them. They don't see vision here.
Oh, they didn't see Fizzy go in. Strompus is going to go down again. Not even any way for Supernova to try and contest. It's now 14 to 2, 18 minutes in. It's a bloody game, but all the blood is shedding in favor of AoE.
Yeah, it's just Supernova who's shedding blood right now. AoE, they've got a fun time here. Oh, the Buster shot as well. Was it necessary?
What a cancel.
No. But yeah, that shows you right now, how are Supernova looking for an engage, right? Cozy can't actually get in there. And even if you Hextech ultimate him to Tristana, the Buster shot's going to disengage. Maddie is level 9. Yeah, sure, Cozy's down 3 levels, but Maddie's basically a support level right now. You don't survive going in. You didn't even, the moment Shockwave comes down, Maddie's dead instantly here. So you can't contest any objectives. AoE's just taking a Herald because Baron's not even available, and Supernova need to get the vision up to find a pick. You will not win a fight without at least 2 more members on your team.
And it's pure disaster for Supernova at this point. It's a 10,000 gold lead. Not even 20 minutes in, it looks like Strompus might fall victim once again. Darkwing's going to use that Shockwave. Strompus taking it at about 200 health. Does have the Leandries continuing to burn on him. Does not opt for that Riftmaker Conqueror build, so doesn't have a lot of healing to take this wave down.
Trump is almost going down to minions here. You know what, Grapes? I don't think we're going to see the new items this game here. It really isn't necessary. Like, for the side of AoE, you're just looking to not die, maybe build a couple of tanky items, and or just overwhelmingly win. And for Supernova, you need damage because you need a kill to get back to the game.
Cozy gonna try to find that kill here. It looks like it's gonna be a team effort because Maddie and Strompus are here, but RBM will catch out Strompus, but Faisal will fall with the Moonfall. Dawning Shadow from downtown will take up the shutdown, but Strompus will fall in return as 3 collapse onto the rise.
If you're Supernova, you take these trades. 1 for 1 is in your favor each and every single time. And yes, Strompus had to burn TP, died immediately, but it delayed the rest of the team. So at least Cozy and Maddie get out alive there. Baron is up right now, and I need to see vision coming through from the side of Supernova. You can't take it, but you can at least try and contest for it, because if you lose Baron, the game's over.
Yeah, and the Baron is so easy to take if you're AoE. You have the Jins out here, and you have these heavy DPS dealers like this Orianna and Sketchstreams who can melt the Baron if they get the opportunity to. So Baron obviously has to be that crucial point of intervention here for Supernova if they want to stay alive in this game 1.
Quick soul check here on to Senna. She's got 69 stacks here. It's a
Nice.
ways away from
Very nice.
not planned, but also not going to be in a position to really pop off anytime in these fights soon here. So we're looking at Maddie and Strompus to be the primary carries or the primary damage sources for any incoming fights, and they are very short range. So they ideally want all of AoE to be committed to that Baron taking a lot of that debuff, and then they pray that Maddie can get sort of a 4-5 man Moonfall here. Strompus gets to burst everybody down, and then if Sketch Dreams is dead, they win that fight.
RBM's going in already. Solarfell is going to lock up Maddie, and the jungler might fall in just a little bit. Going to use the flash out to save his life. Lynx does have that black miss, but now with the jungler chunked out pretty low, could be a signal for AoE to look for the Baron with Faisal pushing on the bottom side.
Yeah, they're gonna look for Faisal here once again. Teleport gonna be used for that. So they've surrendered Baron. They need this kill or they've lost everything.
Well, that's the ultimatum. Ultimates have been popped by both of the top laners, and Strampus might get stunned up here.
Okay.
Can Faisal do
Okay.
it with the final auto? And now I don't even know if Cozy has the amount of damage needed to take down the Croc. This is a disaster for Supernova, and now the teleports are coming in from Dark Wings. Cozy knows this is a one-way trip home. He will pick up Faisal, but now has to face the wrath of Dark Wings. Sketch Dreams will fall, so will get a kill onto Lynx in return. But look at Cozy, does dodge away from the shockwave, but not enough. Dark Wings is so strong, and now with the Baron on his side, he's gonna look to push down this bottom lane.
Once again, Shockwave didn't hit Grapes. We saw it on Maddie. You chunk Maddie. Cozy's right up there with you. Doesn't really have that magic resistance here to really survive that. And with Baron right now, Rovex, that's not safe. Go home.
And now Rovex is solo defending the bottom lane inner turret as the rest of Supernova are going to try to lick their wounds and make some sort of a defense with this Baron power play. Look at the damage, Dark Wings. One more Q will do it. Command attack will take it down. He will fall in return. That is a big shutdown going to Maddie. The only question is, what can RBM do? He will pick up the first kill. Can he pick up the second? The teleports are coming in from Faisal. The Croc's going to stun up Stromp at the same time, same place, and Lynx is also here trying to do any amount of damage, but that's the Rift Herald as well from RBM. It's so early in the game that we're going to get the double purple combo, and Lynx is getting stunned up as well. It's Cozy versus the world, and it's going to be the world here. A triple kill for Faisal, and AoE are going to win game one.
I mean, it's going to be 9 seconds before Rovex comes up. 12 from Maddie here, and again, they're not the people who can make this happen. Moonfall not available. The only real question right now, Grapes, is do we get to see Shelly dance?
That is the question here. We'll get the first proc, but looks like Rovex does not want that to happen. We'll get knocked out by that 3-talent strike. Not even going to have the chance to use the Haymaker as RBM will pick up his 5th kill of the game. Shelly goes down, but so will the Nexus of Supernova. 23.5 minutes in, AoE take it.
You know what? We didn't get to see Shelly dance, but we do get to see AoE take a very clean win. And we said it earlier, Grapes, AoE are coming into this to win it in style. And they certainly did that here. This was not half-hearted whatsoever. They dominated 24 kills, 5 deaths only. And Supernova need to go back to the drawing board. They need to look long and hard at what they did. They've traditionally found success with skilling compositions and sacking the early game, but you cannot sack it to this great an extent.
Absolutely not. And a lot of that victory was around that top side. Sure, Darkwings had a phenomenal game, but a lot of those advantages for AoE were around Faisal and around RBM, and that is a bit of a deviation. Normally we see Darkwings being that primary carry, but he still ended up doing incredibly well, going what, like 10-0 or something. But either way, still a lot of focus there towards the top side. Supernova are going to have to adjust.
And Grips, I know that we were talking off air about the fact that on Zeus, Darkwings was known as a control mage player. He's moved away from that. He has not lost his touch. It's a team-wide decision to put him on carries. And we saw that Oriana. Okay, yeah, he whiffed an ultimate. He wore a sombrero. He still crushed his lane, and he still crushed every fight, right? So that's not something that you can just dismiss. And I think going into the next game here, you need to change up some of your brand priorities. Tristana not being banned was definitely an issue. I don't think we can afford to see that again. Sketch Dreams was able to 1v2 very, very comfortably. And the other thing I think we need to see is maybe not ban the Shincell, but you do need to provide Maddie support here. Maddie was forced to protect Cozy, and nobody protected Maddie. And that also became an issue. Yes, there's a 3-level lead top, but in the jungle, for most of the game, it was a 2-level gap as well.
Well, we'll see if Supernova have any sort of response here, because it's going to be pretty hard to match what AoE did in that game 1. Back to the drawing board here. We'll see what happens in the draft. As you said, RMC, a lot of things to look at there for Supernova. We're going to take a quick break. Champion select for game 2 will happen in just a bit. Welcome back, everybody. We're here for game 2 of the Risen Champions League. Supernova took a tough loss in game 1 RMC, but looking towards this next matchup, we're going to see a bit of a difference here. Supernova opting towards that blue side, and RMC, I know that blue side on Supernova is not something you normally like, but given the way that the draft happened in game 1, definitely a reason to go for that here.
Yeah, especially with how that played out. The fact that first pick, B1 pick was Shin Zhao for the side of AoE here. That's something Maddie plays, and it doesn't look like Supernova have a good answer to that plan here. So going to the blue side, it means that they can pick it up themselves here, or potentially AoE has to ban it out if they don't have an answer to it. I like the change, and frankly, nothing in the draft I saw made it feel like they had to wait that long. Set R5 it wasn't the
Yeah.
biggest deal there. It was okay. We saw why they did it, the solid counter to Leona, the disengage for the team fight, but it just wasn't able to execute. And so if that's the case, then hey, pick the comp that works for you. That's how Supernova has always played.
Yeah, and even with that B1 Jinzhao here, even if we decide to ban it, sure, you don't get to play it, but you still get that first pick, gonna go for one of those power picks, and if that Jinzhao doesn't end up getting taken away, one of the bans that Supernova had against them in the first rotation would be unlocked. So a lot of things going for Supernova on this blue side.
Now, Grapes, I'm not sure what they've managed to sort of talk over in the break. It was a fairly short break that we
Yeah.
had here between the games, but I do think also Supernova need to have an early game plan. That is something I felt was conspicuously absent here from them. AoE came in, they knew right away what they were going to do, right? We saw the Shinzao go top, camp the top lane a bit, play the site game, and then after that, we saw Fizzy roam up to the top lane. That was something they had prepared going into the game, knowing exactly what they wanted to do. Supernova, I didn't see that. We saw the Maddie clear, the Maddie roam, and that was kind of it, right? And then after that, it just felt like they were reacting the entire time, just shading topside to make sure that Cozy didn't get dove. You can replicate that effect with good pathing and with vision, right? If you put down the wards, you let Maddie kind of go down, clear his bot side fully, maybe get some pressure down bot side when you can tell that there's no pressure, no dive pressure on Cozy. You can do that. And I want to see them prepare for that if they're going for the scaling game. And knowing Supernova here, as much as I'd like to see them try and play early, I have very little doubt that when their backs are up against the wall here, they're still going to look at skill.
Yep, scaling definitely always the name of the game for Supernova. We are headed into the pro draft here. We have Thresh taken away by Supernova now that they're on the blue side. Viego, interesting to see on a blue side ban. We're on the other side. AoE already taken away that Akali once again.
Okay, so right now, these are all bans that AoE did last game up to this point. Shin Zhao is new, and we already talked about this, but
Yeah.
it was actually the AoE who banned Akali, Thresh, and Viego here. Viego would have been my other sort of first pick coming through from Supernova, letting Cozy play something that can carry a little bit, or, you know, the rotation onto Strumpus potentially here. Now, all of that's off the table.
Yep.
Gwen was left unlocked.
That's a beautiful pickup here for Supernova. Can flex to 3 roles. We know that Maddie can play it in the jungle as well as Cozy and Strumpus, but there still are a lot of things on the table for AoE to take away. Things like that Karma are still available. It didn't actually get banned away this time.
Yeah, and what we've seen sort of develop as a bit of a counter to this Gwen pickup in more recent times has been actually that Hecarim jungle. Because Hecarim can kind of do anything you want inside that shroud, and Gwen can't really do anything about it, right? Like you're melee, and you just charge in. And we are seeing the Karma picked, actually, not just hovered. Faisal's been playing a lot of that. It also works very well with the Hecarim. We saw Hecarim Yuumi last Tuesday from Supernova. Karma Hecarim works much the same way here, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen here for AoE.
Well, with the Lee Sin pickup, still a possibility because the Lee Sin does go into those solo lanes, but the Karma, a very strong power pick here for AoE. Can flex to multiple roles. Wouldn't really want to see Dark Wings on it, just given how strong he really is. That Senna Hover, though, is still on the table for Supernova, and if you're gonna pick a Senna lane, I prefer you do it earlier.
Here's my problem with picking that center right here, Grapes. Tristana is still open for sketch streams, and you didn't have an answer to it. Sure, you can ban away the Leona, but can you ban Leona, Nautilus, and Alistar? You've only got 2 bans left, and they just do the same thing. You don't have a solid answer. The set wasn't it here, and I feel like Supernova is just asking for trouble here by doing this, by picking the center before they can confirm if that Trist is going to be in or not.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring that up because the Senna is typically thought of as this sort of counter to heavy engaged bot lanes like this Tristana. But without the Tahm Kench, it takes away one half of that dynamic duo of that heavy disengaged bottom lane. Maddie is going to actually opt towards this Olaf instead of that Jin Zhao pickup. It will be interesting to see a little bit more early game prowess on him in this game.
I feel like this Olaf is also a bit of a takeaway. When we've seen Faisal play the Lulu, the Karma's top, they very often pair it with the Olaf here. So they're just kind of taking it away. I would almost actually have rather seen them leave it up, knowing that AoE were likely to not pick it in favor of the Tristana. But hey, they have done what they've done here. And for the side of AoE, they're looking still for potentially a jungle or solo lanes. Lee Sin can go into the jungle. It's not necessarily what I personally like to see from RBM, but it is something he plays a lot of in solo queue.
Well, I forgot to mention it earlier, but it's now 15-1 on Sketchstream's Tristana down in the bottom lane. Wasn't really thinking about bringing it up, but now that it's picked up again, I mean, we just have to. The record is just so insane. But now, taking a look at what we could potentially see Sketchstreams pair up this bot lane with. Karma lock-in might be the signal for some people to go, oh, this Karma is going to go alongside the Tristana in the bottom lane. But traditionally, when we've seen these enchanters like this Karma picked up by AoE, more towards Faisal in the top side.
Yep, and it is a flex pick. The set ban here makes me think they might be looking for an engage support potentially here. And it also depends very heavily on what Supernova pick. We have to recall that AoE has last pick here. They are R5, and if they think the matchup's okay with that Karma to just poke, disengage, and buff up the Tristana, they'll roll with that. If they don't like it, they can send that potentially even to the mid lane. I hate the thought of Darkwings playing sort of a support mage more than I hate the idea of RBM playing Lee Sin. But again, it doesn't have to be about Darkwings, right? We've seen Faisal carry now. We've seen Sketchstreams carry now, and they can continue to do so. There's no need to change up a winning formula here.
Well, as Core JJ saw on his one co-stream of Proving Grounds last split, RBM does play a decent Lee Sin in the jungle, so obviously a possibility for that to come out here. The second phase of bans has concluded, but one champion that wasn't banned was Darkwing's Orianna for the second time this series.
Okay, proactive here. It's a very safe pick. I do like to see the Orianna picked fairly early here because she doesn't have bad matchups for the most part. Strompist respecting that, knowing the Ryze is going to do well into it here. I would prefer the Corki, I think, to the Azir. You're not too worried about engage, like hard engage coming through so far. It's a Karma, it's a Lee Sin. The Corki will give you the range, and that is something that AoE won't be able to match here, is that poke ability. No, they went back to the Azir. Okay, I am, like I said, not a huge fan of this. You've got an Olaf who wants to go in. You've got an Azir who wants to go out. You've got a very split composition, and Supernova needs something to tie all this together. It's going to be their support here, and Enchanter support, I
Wait.
guess. Oh, yes.
What?
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I gotta tell you, RMC, I'm very confused right now.
Okay, you know what, Grapes? You told me about the Lee Sin Senna combo, which is becoming more popular. This is the OG Lee Sin Senna combo. When Senna first came out and was playing more support here, Irelia was one of the most paired supports with that Senna. And basically, you're hyper mobile, you farm very well, and you put out a whole bunch of threat. If you do this, Karma Tristana cannot be the bot lane here. They're not safe for you to play. You need something that can stop Irelia just jumping your back line here. And so they're now forcing the Karma potentially into the top lane because that's an Orianna mid right away. I love this adaptation from Supernova, but it still doesn't tie the comp together.
And this is interesting because Rovex is a mid laner, and so does play a lot of these things. He specializes even in some of these bruisers in the mid lane, Irelia being one of them. And so you can see Supernova adjusting to the way that their composition has been formed, the way that their players have kind of assimilated here in this series. And it's still interesting because while you did say, RMC, that this Irelia will probably be going bot, Cozy and Strompus are both very good Irelia players on their own.
True. I've not seen Senna Gwen. I don't think that's going to be strong enough in the bot lane. And I have seen Senna Azir. Trust me, you never want to see it. I've seen it in solo queue. Please never again. It is absolutely terrible.
I'll take your word.
Yeah, I'm just going to go and assume that's going to be the Senna Irelia here. I'm fairly confident about that one here. And it also changes Supernova's playstyle because we already said that we don't want to see them sort of look for just the late game skill with no early game plan. Well, now you've got an early game plan. Senna Irelia, that is something you can play around. You've got an Olaf for Maddie as well. And Olaf absolutely makes tracks in the early game. You can run down that Orianna in the mid lane. Azir's got actually pretty good poke in lane here. That's your bridge. That's how you get to late game when your Senna starts getting stacks, your Azir is online, your Gwen is absolutely running everywhere. I really like the draft from Supernova this time here. I think Coach Koso has done a great job, as you pointed out, with Rovex basically getting to play a comfort champion as well. And AoE, their draft is standard.
Yeah.
We should probably touch on that because I feel like we've been waxing a lot on Supernova's draft. AoE, they've still got a very solid composition for the most part. Plenty of shields. 3 members put shields onto that Tristana here, and that's going to be a huge deal for the side of AoE. All the eggs in the Sketch Streams basket. 15-1. Can they make it 16-1?
Well, they definitely have the ability to, given the nature of their team composition. But this is very, very cool from Supernova. I just got to touch on it once again. It's just, look at this. We are receiving word that it is what we were anticipating, which is Gwen on Cozy in the top lane. Oh, wait, hold on.
They're just playing around.
We are looking around just a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised. Like, something that I was also thinking about was it could be a possibility that Cozy just goes bot lane on the Aurelia. It's something that he definitely plays a lot. Send Rovex up to the top side. I don't know what the rules are in terms of switching the champions around in the draft and locking that in. And right now, with 10 seconds to go in the client draft, I know you guys can't see it right now. Cozy's on the Aurelia.
Okay. Like I said, I've not seen Senna Gwen before. So this is new ground for me here. This is why I was thinking Senna Irelia. And the strength of Senna Irelia is that you control the lane immediately against most AD carries. You're squishy, you've got kill threat, you've got good follow-up. Gwen's not quite the same style, right? Like Gwen has very strong level 1. You've got the Hallowed Mist as well. And I'm just thinking right now, theorycraft in a way here, Grape, so feel free to chime in as well. You don't have that safety against Tristana early. You don't necessarily win that early 2v2 because you don't usually take Hallowed Mist at level 1 there. You kind of go for that W, you go for the ability to trade against melees here. So I think we're going to see a bit of a weaker early lane, and Maddie will be more likely to look topside to that Irelia against Karma here for potential kill threat. And then bot lane probably, later on, maybe once you've got all your skills level 4, level 5, that's when you kind of look to make something happen in this bot lane here for the side of Supernova.
And also RMC, I think I mentioned this, I touched on this just a little bit before, but I don't know what the rules are with lane swapping in terms of where players are allowed to just play on the map. Rovex definitely can play in those solo lanes, and the Senna Aurelia combo is something that you touched upon. Cozy definitely is known for his Aurelia play. Yeah. I would not be surprised to see Cozy go to the bot lane and Rovex go to the top lane. Obviously, sure. The Senna Gwen is something that you have theory crafted, could work in theory with both of those defensive shroudy, misty abilities in the bottom side, but also would not be surprised to see any other situation happen.
You can also flex them around, right? Like Karma's not a lane that's absolutely gonna beat you into the ground and take over a lane. You pick a Karma because Karma doesn't lose the lane, not necessarily that she's gonna win it. So you could, you know what, if we're going kind of crazy here, Graves, you could actually just, level up a couple of levels for, Cozy in the top lane first, or Rovex the top lane, then after a while just swap them around, right? And send the other one down to the bot lane with the level lead, right? And then you've got kill pressure. There's just so many possibilities here, Graves. I'm so excited to see what Supernova is pulling out. AoE, on the other hand, probably not quite as excited as me to see what they're gonna try and pull out here. And for AoE, they need to not get sucked into the pace of Supernova here. Your composition is still going to do what it's going to do. You've got triple shields, you've got a huge beefy tank in front of you, literal beefy in terms of Alistar, and you just need to funnel all your resources into Sketch Streams here. I want to see RBM look to that bot lane immediately. TPs on your mid and your top laner, get ready to get them to the bot lane, because I think that's where Supernova is also going to try and focus a little bit. And if you can fend off those, if you can get some kills for Sketch Streams early, then all the tricks, all the plans Supernova has, is just going to fall apart against a hyper-fed Tristana.
Well, with Sketch Streams on the Tristana and whatever the hell Supernova have set up down there, it looks like the bot lane will be the focus of this game. We've been talking about it so much, but we do have to take a short break because Game 2 is starting in just a bit. Welcome back, everybody. We're here on Summoner's Rift for Game 2 of Supernova versus AoE Esports RMC. If you're just tuning in, everybody, just if you look at the champions, things are definitely a little bit unorthodox on Supernova's side, I would have to say. But we do have Rovex on this Gwen with the TP Ghost, and right now he's headed towards that bottom side.
Graves, this is one of the few times I'm very happy I used push to talk, so you can't hear me squealing like a girl who just got gifted a pony here. I love it. Triple TP as well, Graves. We were talking about, okay, who's going where? We can tell from the summoners. No, we can't.
We cannot.
Rollbacks on Gwen running Ghost Teleport as well here. So you can, we talk about flexing, the different people to different lanes, switching things up. TP makes that happen even faster. And if anything, Supernova... Grapes, are you familiar with the concept of a total football? It's a soccer term. Have you ever heard of it before?
I have not. Soccer's not my strong suit, but go please entertain us.
So total football is a concept created by the Dutch team here, the Netherlands. They play a style, and it's called total football because everybody does everything. It's fluid.
Okay.
There are no real positions here. Everybody just kind of does what they need to do. That's what I feel like Supernova is doing right now, with the exception of Lynx on the center here. Anyone can go anywhere, can be anyhow here for this team. And I want to see them use it. Get these rotations going. And it all starts with the jungler here with Maddie. Maddie starting bot side once again. Opposite side to RBM. And like I said, I would like to see him get in the top lane first. Get that Irelia going. Win the top lane. You're done and dusted once that's in the book. And then you can start rotating people down. If Cozy's winning, send him on down to the bot lane. Get Rovex to a solo lane. And then you get to win that lane. Hey, you bored? Guess who does really well into Orianna here, Graves? Irelia. You can send them mid as well, right? Azir can go farm in the bot side. That's perfectly fine. That's what I want to see here.
The possibilities are really limitless here. It is Rovex starting in the bottom side, though. Gonna start with that E level 1. We were thinking maybe we do a double Shroud tech or something to start us off, but doesn't look like that's the case. And right now, they're actually definitely holding their own, at least here in the first 2 waves. While we did spend a lot of time talking about this bottom lane, though, Cozy's Aurelia is something I want to bring up. A lot of the time when people are thinking about Cozy, you're probably just thinking about Lee Sin and Viego, champions that you've seen him play a lot in the summer split. But back in the day, I don't know if I want to say back in the day, this guy's so young, but he was known as an Aurelia and a Kali 2-trick, basically, in solo queue. And so seeing him finally pick up one of the champions was something that I've been looking forward to for a very long time.
Yeah, sadly, Cozy is down right now in health, so we're not likely to see top lane action in the immediate foreseeable future here. Instead, bot side.
Oh, big headbutt pull from Fizzy, and it doesn't matter who's paired with the Senna because she is going to die. Sketch Dreams will pick up another kill, looking to make it 16-1. It's going to be Rovex running out to safety with RBM here to boot. It's a 1-for-0 trade for AoE.
RBM not really getting the assist there, but right away, you know what? We're so high on these picks, but we've got to remember 15-1. Grapes, that's the stat you were telling me. Tristana, competitive play right now for Sketch Dreams, and once again, they get themselves first blood. If there is an 80s carry who can trade really well with Gwen here, it's gonna be that Tristana. If you don't like the fight, you rocket jump out. But until that Hallowed Mist comes out here, Rovex just has to eat the explosive shots.
Yeah, and a really nice play once again. Getting their second 2v2 kill in the bottom lane is AoE. Sketch Dreams and Fizzy were a bot lane that we were kind of questioning a little bit, but it looks like they're all going forward here. The explosive shot once again. What? Look at the heal. It's going to be Rovex picking up the kill. Sketch Dreams is a little bit over aggressive and will get punished, but RBM is here. Remember, he started top, which means he's headed bot. Maddie is on the top side as well. Fizzy's going to go back in with another combo, and RBM will pick up the kill with the Sonic Wave, but Strumpus is looking for a solo kill of his own. What is going on in this game? He picks up a solo kill under Darkwing, and even though it looked like AoE were in an advantageous situation, it's 2-2 on the board.
Supernova already firing back here. I want to point out first blood goes to Sketch Dreams, but gold lead after the 2-for-2 is in favor of Supernova here. Now top side, Faisal taking a beating as well.
But flash forward, Cozy looking for the solo kill. Another nice response of the summoner from Faisal. Both these top laners are so low. It's going to be a very explosive laning phase, RMC.
Yeah, last game we could quite easily say that, okay, AoE's just got the better lanes across the board. That's certainly not the case this game. If we talk about how the laning is going to go, we said Irelia's got the advantage here. Azir's got great lane focus well, and this bot side.
All right, slash forward, Strumpus has not seen it until just now. Will have the ability to get away, but 5 minutes into this game, 4 kills already, and even more summoners blown on everyone.
Yeah, and lots of movement. The only person I think we've not seen really get into action is Maddie Faisal. RBM's
Cozy?
back in.
A bit of trouble. RBM is here once again, returning to that top side. Gonna use a safeguard to get closer. Can he hit the Sonic Wave is the question. Looks like he will, and he will take the return in as Cozy goes down.
Nice and clean, in and out. No more flash from Cozy there because both Cozy and Faisal blew it. And again, I want to highlight, where's Maddie? He's the one guy who hasn't been part of any of the action so far.
Yeah.
He's counter jungling. He's invading onto RBM here. It's a good use of things in a way because for Supernova, you're not in a rush to make things happen. You skill up really, really well. Better, in fact, than the side of AoE here. So as long as your lanes aren't falling behind, you can take your time.
Darkwing's gonna get shuffled in with the ultimate advantage is Strompus, but RBM has a lot of damage. Maddie is gonna go in with the Undertow, does have the flash instead of the ghost, which means not enough possibilities to run him down. Sonic Wave will connect. Don't think it will be followed up with that resonating strike. Fizzy looking over the Raptor Pit. Does have the Hex Flash available if he decides to use the wave. Is pushing in, and that means Fizzy is going in. Strompus is going to get comboed up. Shockwave to boot. RBM picks up his third kill of the game, and Maddie is left stranded under his tower.
Okay, now that's a move we gotta call the alley-oop. You go and you set up the Shockwave, the pulverizer to Shockwave into the Lee Sin kick. I want to see more of that. It's so clean coming through from AoE here. And truly, they look like night and day from the last time we saw them playing against randoms here. They're really clean in the early game. They're not going to let their early leads, their early advantages go here. They want to make sure they're in a great position coming into the mid game.
Yeah, and a big factor in that is really big meme. Doing so much work on this Lee Sin. Sure, Maddie is going for some of these counter advantages, has a bit of a CS lead, but the impact by the junglers right now definitely in AoE's favor. Now, I want to talk about Maddie for just a little bit. There's no enchanters to kind of boost this Olaf up with these solo laners, and with that set up, Fizzy is still just having so much prio here in this bottom side. Maddie gonna try to look for an answer here. Does have the ultimate. The Vanguard's Edge is available on Cozy as well, but RBM is here to make it a 2v2 and to prevent Supernova from going forward.
Yeah, bot
Or
side
not.
actually.
Are landing the stun here. That's Maddie running in with the Ragnarok. Is going to chase down Faisal. One more auto will do it. And that's a kill here on the top side. Meanwhile, bottom lane, we have another 2v2 knock up onto Rovex. Lynx is getting the damage in onto Sketch Streams. Will he get it? No, not just yet. Will get it with the final auto from the Senna. And now it's Fizzy versus Lynx in the bottom side. Cow versus Senna. Don't know how this one's going to work out. He is going to get the root, but Fizzy is fighting with the wave on his side. The last minions will not take down Lynx. Oh, will it? No! The final piercing light to heal him up. Oh my goodness, it's so close. And look at that TP coming in from Rovex again. The action never stops here, RMC.
Yeah, hey, triple TP, right? Gotta use it right. And so far, this bot lane isn't going as bad as I thought it might for the Tristana. Sketch Streams is able to find kills. The problem is, normally we talk about like, okay, ADC supports. You want the kills on the AD carry. For the side of Supernova, they don't care who gets the kills. If Lynx get it, great. Our ADC is skilling. If Rovex get it, great. Our AP carry is skilling. We're good either way right now. And they'll happily trade that here. Again, for a skilling composition, trading 1-for-1, that's a win in your books here. And I need to see, you know, a bit more measured trading coming through from the side of AoE here.
Yeah, and this is a much, much, much better start here for Supernova. Now actually having that gold lead instead of being down 4K or whatever it was at this point in the game last time. And now it's going to be Rovex and Sketch Streams trading back and forth. That's why you pick this one in the bot lane, I suppose, using that W to prevent any engage coming in from Sketch Streams. But Fizzy is here looking for the dive. Potentially Needlework is available from Rovex, but now stuck in a 3v1. Lynx is trying his darndest to get in, but I don't know if it's going to be fast enough. Fizzy's going to jump in, use that unbreakable will, going to knock up Rovex, and the final auto from Sketch Streams will take him down. It's now Lynx in a 1v3, and RBM's going forward. A beautiful kick, flash in, will get the root up, but RBM is not going to go down just yet. Fizzy with one more combo. All he knows how to do is go in, and that is working for AoE.
A team with 3 teleport scrapes, and they did not have any available to reinforce that bot play there. Not only do they find the double kill for AoE, they're going to find themselves a dragon as well. Once again, we're graced with first Drake being Clout Drake right now, and for AoE, they're going to be fine with that. The ultimates have been extremely impactful here, and getting that extra ability haste on those ultimates will allow them to get more dragon rages off, more dives here. And Fizzy, that unbreakable will is actually going to be a huge problem because right now Fizzy's not playing support. He's playing secondary jungler.
running all over the place. Look at him. He's not even going towards that bottom lane, running straight to that top side of the map as Cozy is trying to go a little bit hard in onto this top side. Going to try to get that wave in before the Alistar shows up. Don't know if it's going to happen though. Faisal going to use that Q, chunking out Cozy pretty low, but now finally gets the wave crashed in, and Fizzy going to have to look somewhere else.
Yeah, Link's actually coming up to reinforce as well. Good read on Fizzy's roam there. Nothing's going to happen. And despite the 3-kill gold lead plus the Drake lead, AoE is only up, what is that, 500 gold here. And a lot of that difference, which is keeping them in the game, is on Cozy. On this Irelia right now, up about 1,000 gold from Faisal. So the moment Cozy gets unlocked from that top lane and gets brought into the mid, into the jungle, into these fights, that's when I think things are going to get dicey for AoE. And if you don't win those fights, things are looking very bad for you. And I think scaling is going to, again, slide the way of Supernova.
Bot lane, once again, the focus here. Fizzy, he's not even doing anything. He's just walking around, but his presence is just so scary. It's really hard for anybody on Supernova to do anything, and it looks like they might have gone a little bit too hard here. Lynx is going to take a big chunk of damage with that explosive shot, and RBM is here as well. But support here from Darkwings in addition. That's teleports that we were talking about. Let's see who it's going to be. It's going to be both of them, actually. Strop is going to be there first. Lands a nice shuffle into the tower as Fizzy will go down first. Shockwave will win. And now it's Supernova's fight to win. The Dawning Shadow will land onto 2. Darkwings is slowed up. Going to get stunned up by Cozy and taken down as well. And it's now Supernova pushing forward. Cozy will go down first, but RBM is now super low. The shutdown will go in onto Rovex. And it's Lynx flashing forward onto Sketchstream. The damage from Faisal is pretty big. But look at that. Supernova with their globals doing the work here in the bottom side.
What was that? 10 health on Lynx. That was real close. Faisal is now trying to hold this 1v4, and there are no ultimates, but I'm still not sure it's safe.
Strampus is going forward. The undertow is not long enough.
He's back.
Fizzy has come back from the depths. Rom going to land a combo onto Strampus, but Faisal is still alive, still
TP.
throwing those inner flames in. Teleport in from Darkwings could be big. No shockwave available, but it doesn't matter. That's the inner flame taking down Strampus, and it looks like Supernova might have bit off a bit more than they could chew. Maddie's going to get taken down. The blast cone will miss. Lynx is over the top, but it's not going to matter. No damage available for them. And AoE, they strike right back.
Okay, that was originally a 3-for-1, but I think at the end of the day, it was a 3-for-3. Sketchstreams facing off against Cozy here.
Oh yeah, down in the middle lane. And it looks like it's going to be Cozy who wins that trade. Shutdown going over, but Fizzy is going to make it a 1-for-1 alongside RBM. Sonic Wave forward, and Fizzy will be the one to secure it.
So just so much here. It feels like it's one continuous fight. There are actually 3 kind of different fights here. 4!
Oh!
Darkwings! The AD carries are overextending here, Grape. Sketchstream's not respecting Cozy, and Lynx not respecting Darkwings. The weakest people on the map right now, they're the AD carries. You guys do not get to 1v1. I know everybody else is doing it, but guys, if everybody else is jumping off the bridge, and they've got parachutes and you don't, maybe don't jump off with them.
Yeah, all they got is a big old gun. Can't really use that to save your life down there under that river. And now 8-12 in favor of AoE Esports, but now with that Rift Herald spawn here, it's going to be a lot of more gold funneled into Strampus, fulfilling that late game prophecy that we were talking about with Supernova. They're in a decent spot, up in gold, 14 minutes in. That's exactly where they want to be with this composition.
Yeah, and we're starting to see the items come through. Stride Breaker still being picked up for Cozy and for Maddie here. And we have to remember, no gap closer, so it's not as strong as on the Olaf as it used to be if you don't already have an engage, but Maddie does have flash available here for himself, so that is a nice way to get in there. It should be fine. As long as Sketchstreams doesn't engage this, they should be fine. And okay, they're going to be careful. We should probably set up for how the next team fight is potentially going to go here, Grapes, because for the side of AoE, their composition is front to back, and they are relying on the engage from Fizzy here, or from RBM, a speed up from Faisal. But it's very hard to do that into the Emperor's Divide, which is available for the side of Supernova here. So Supernova need to play around that Emperor's Divide, and as long as they get to stop the initial rush in, they've got the Irelia, they've got the Olaf here, and they can counter-engage. But if they have to engage, they don't have the tools to do it.
Yeah, and so much is on the line here with this second dragon spawn. Fizzy, once again, headed towards this mid lane. I feel like he spent more time in other lanes than he has in the bottom lane, honestly. And now Cozy's actually the one here in the mid lane as well. So a bit of a lane swaps all around here. But it looks like instead of getting early prio on the dragon, AoE is going to respond with a mid lane tower take. And now RBM might be in a bit of trouble, going to use the safeguard out safely. That's actually first tower going over to AoE. So a good, big chunk of gold there.
And actually, the Herald was dropped by Supernova to take the mid lane turret. Yeah,
Busy.
kind of looking for
Busy with the 3-man. Oh my goodness. It's a wombo combo. The Empress will buy some time. The Vanguard's Edge will go forward. Cozy trying to do his hardest. He's the one who did not get locked up, but it's not going to matter because AoE and everything that they want, everything that they need. A double kill on Sketchstream, a double kill on RBM, and all of a sudden, AoE are much more in the driver's seat.
Sudden madness, Great Spirit, talking about the setup, you know, they're looking for, and Fizzy just walked up like there was nobody there. I was waiting for the Emperor's Divide. It came way too late. By the time the cow is in there, the ball has been delivered. That's all they needed, a 4-man pulverize into a 4-man shockwave. And the fact that nobody died as well. That was one thing I forgot to mention in the setup. The shields coming through from AoE there. They were so healthy coming out of that. They were not in danger of losing anybody in that fight. And up to that point, toe-to-toe. They were just kind of going at it in these small skirmishes. But right now, AoE found themselves a solid lead here. And for the side of Supernova, the game's not over. Your comp still runs, but you need to make sure you do not allow them to get into your backline like that once again. You cannot group up and eat a 4-man shockwave.
I think Supernova win literally any other iteration of that fight. I think literally the perfect thing happened for AoE there, and it just allowed for Supernova to just kind of get squashed like flies, honestly. It was hard to watch even, just the amount of damage, the amount of crowd control that went through on AoE. They were all grouped up and it worked out just perfectly for them. And all of a sudden now they're the ones in the lead here. But Supernova, as you said, RMC, are not out of this just yet. They still have the composition that scales into the late game. And with that, they're going to have to try and take some fights now with that 2-0 Dragon lead going into AoE's favor.
Yeah, and for the side of Supernova here, their lane matchups are going to be fairly comfortable at this point. You probably want to leave Strompus dealing with Dark Wings, and Cozy can go wherever Cozy wants. So it doesn't matter if it's Sketch Streams, it doesn't matter if it's Faisal, Cozy's going to win that. As for Rovex, you're just trying to funnel as much gold into this Gwen as possible. Riftmaker already completed here, and we're already seeing some of that damage starting to come through. Over time, it's only going to get worse here. You just don't want to group up and fight them. You don't have to fight for the Herald. You can let that one go. Dragon's 3 minutes. You're okay on that as well.
Oh, 4 people in the top side. Cozy going to flash away from the Sonic Wave, actually going to save his life there. And with that, Supernova are going to respond with a turret take of their own on the bottom side. Mid lane under fire as well. So a bit of a failed play up in the top lane for AoE. Not going to matter all too much though, but Faisal is in a bit of trouble. Going to use that Ragnarok is Maddie. Faisal with a beautiful stopwatch to buy as much time as possible. Will flash away from the needlework. Again, dodging away from that Gwen ultimate. Only hit 1 of the 3 procs. And with that, it allows for Supernova to not get a kill there in the mid lane.
That turret went down as well, and because of that failed play, they tried so hard. I think the moment the stopwatch was used, you disengage, because look what's going to happen here. You've got to push bot, you've got to push mid, pardon me, and then push top. And a turret is going to fall here.
Oh man, Cozy once again getting locked up by Fizzy. Not going to have anything to save him that time. RBM picks up the kill under the turret.
Top side turret dropped as well. Sketch Streams getting some alone time. This is a Tristana with Kraken Slayer, with Zeal completed as well. Will absolutely take down your turrets. Only needs about probably, what, 2 waves here to be able to do that. And they sent Strompus to push that bot side. I'm really not sure about the call there. Azir does not take it quite as quickly. And you did have teleport available on the back end of this. AoE, they're just getting away with murder. 2 turrets, a kill, and Herald?
It seems like they really just get whatever they want here. It's just Fizzy running her all over the map, making sure that things go his way. And now with this Rift Herald being picked up by RBM again, it allows for even more pressure to be exerted by Area of Effect as they look to make another push.
For AoE here, you don't want to let off the gas. They've found great success in just rotating all across the map as much as possible. That's going to hurt. And they want to continue doing that. For Supernova, that's Emperor's Divide down. You cannot teamfight right now. Dragon's coming up in about a minute and a half. That Emperor's Divide will be up just at around the same time, but you no longer get to set up first. And with the comp that they have here, they do want to get set up first because they have problems initiating fights.
Well, we know what happened last time Supernova got the first dibs into the Dragon Pit. Insanity happened, and that is kind of what happens here if you're AoE. You need to get that wombo combo once again. Sure, you have a bigger gold lead than you did on that last Drake due to the amount that you were able to get off of that teamfight win. But if the fight drags on for too long, Supernova have the tools, they have the ability to come back and turn it around.
Quick soul check here on Senna, 67 souls here. So
I
again,
should have said it too later, man.
Again, what wasn't scripted the first time here? We can still do that later, but you know, they're not quite at the point where you can fight a 2 completed item Tristana here. PD and Kraken Slayer with a BF sword to boot right now. Supernova, unfortunately, if you're not there first and you don't have the vision to walk into this, you don't get to fight. And I kind of want to see them just give up the dragon, go for the turrets instead. Standing gold is still gold. Mid lane turret is very, very low, and so is that top lane turret, about half health here.
Look at the vision. Supernova have no idea where the rest of AoE are. The big initiators, RBM and Fizzy, are both in the fog of war. Now RBM will show on this dragon, but Fizzy is headed up with the rest of his team here into the top side of the dragon pit. And it doesn't look like Supernova have any ability to get into the pit. The zone control from AoE is just too massive, and so it looks like that third dragon will go over Soul Point to AoE. The only question is what can happen in return.
Rovex might drop in return here. They're trying to zoom out the mid lane, and I appreciate this. But the speed boost coming through from Karma already here. Shirelius, pardon me, is going to make this so hard. And after all that setup, after all that siege here, Supernova can't even get themselves the mid lane turret. This is really, really bad for them in terms of trying to get back into the game. It's a bit of a mixed feel here in terms of how this is working for Supernova, because on the one hand, you don't have a lot more turrets to lose, and what turrets you do have are very defendable. But on the other hand, the fact that you're in this situation and down about 4,000 gold is not where you want to be, and means that you don't get any priority on the map.
And remember that Rift Herald is still available on RBM as well. More priority even. Look at the vision across this. There's 3 pink wards down a line there on the bottom side for AoE. Sure, it'll be easy for Rovex to kind of pick up some of that gold, but just giving a lot of that vision of over to AoE is just really crucial for them.
Okay, just
What's
as we
up?
say that, yeah, we're back, guys. We are having a slight pause here. Not quite sure what the issue is, but we had one last game. It got fixed pretty quickly here. Not too worried.
Yeah.
You know what? Maybe it gives the teams a little bit of time to mental reset. AoE has done a great job, Grapes, right now of keeping the pace of the game very, very high. And right now, it just feels like all their parts are working. Faisal 3-1-5 here on this Karma. Yes, he lost lane, but he's a great weak side top player. And with the Shirelias completed right now, his job is done. He will be there to speed up the team. RBM, who is 6-1-6 right now, is what really catches my eye. And we are back into the game. He has been amazing finding these engages here.
Oh, Fizzy pops the Shirelius. 4 members again onto Rovex. The Shroud is not going to save your life here, my friend. Sketchstreams picks up another kill right out of the pause. And now in the 4v5, it's going to be AoE headed to Baron.
Okay, and just let's talk about tempo. Well, the tempo don't stop. The pause doesn't slow anything down here. They instantly turn to Baron, and they're dropping Herald as well to secure it. Supernova have to contest this. You cannot give up Baron.
Teleport is available for Rovex upon his respawning in 15 seconds. It looks like they have managed to pull AoE off the Baron for now. It will get a couple of resets in, and it looks like just that's all it's going to take. Supernova have taken AoE away from the Baron, and now Darkwings might be a bit out of position. That's a Stride Breaker slow coming in huge. Lynx picks up another kill, and now it's a 4v5 in favor of Supernova.
Okay, so that entire fight starts off because they get a pick. That's good. That's great. That's well. The problem is you need to make the decision, Baron or not. They chose to do Baron, and then they backed off. They gave it up, and they left Darkwings behind. Everybody's backing off, and there was just no cover. You need to shade one side so Darkwings gets an exit corridor there. They end up giving that for free. In the grand scheme of things, it's not going to change too much here. I do believe it was Cozy who picked up that kill, but there wasn't a bounty. So the Irelia gets to speed things up a little bit more here, and AoE, they just kind of threw that little advantage they had at the Baron here. Baron cannot be attempted, I think, until for AoE, you've killed Strompist and you've killed Maddie for the most part. If those two are up, you're going to have a hard time, one, because they have Smite, and two, because Strompist can just always lock you in the pit with Emperor's Divide. For the side of Supernova, you don't get to try doing the Baron unless you've killed at least 3 members of AoE.
Yeah.
I don't care which 3 members, but you need them. Actually, no, you have to kill 3 members, and one of them has to be RBM. If RBM's up, that Baron is not safe. Lee Sin's Resonating Strike is going to out-damage him a lot.
Rocket Champ out for Sketchstreams, will mean he's safe. Was a little bit concerned, but then I remembered it was Tristana that is on the side of AoE. And for the first time in what seems like all game, we see a bit of a lull in the action. I don't want to jinx it just yet as Maddie's checking some vision, but we have a bit of a time to kind of reflect and think about what this game really means for these teams. AoE, they want to be dominant in this best of 3, as you said, RMC, coming in and dropping that first game to Dignitas Mirage, now looking and wanting to be one of those top players in the mix here.
And despite the fact right now that AoE feels very much in control, I mean, 9 kills up is nothing to scoff at. They've got all the dragons. We've got ourselves another pause. Despite all of this here, Grapes, they're actually not that far ahead, and the game is not in a huge losing state for Supernova. They've managed to solve the game really well. They're within spitting distance here. About 2,500 gold separates the two teams. Nash's Tooth and Riftmaker is completed for Rovex. The Gwen is online here. All the early deaths don't matter. Strompus as well, looking to complete potentially a death cap here with that Leandries, also ready for a big team fight. And Cozy Shroud, we've already seen, if Cozy gets into a back line here, I don't know if there's enough peel to peel for Sketch Streams. And if Sketch Streams is taking up the fight, doesn't have to be killed, just has to be removed from the action temporarily. Strompus and Rovex are just going to run right over Darkwing's RBM and Faisal.
Yeah, and in terms of scaling, this is exactly what Supernova wanted to do, both in Game 1 and here in Game 2 as well. And even though they are down a couple thousand gold here in this game, it's way better than whatever happened in that Game 1. At this point, I think the goldie was maybe like 10,000 in AoE's favor. And so taking a look now, the situation is much more winnable for Supernova, especially considering the champions that they have. They still have this Senna scaling up as well. They have the Gwen, they have the Azir with the death cap in tow, and things are working pretty well for them right now. Not as well as they would have hoped. Obviously, that fight of the dragon kind of threw a wrench in their plan to take Game 2, but we'll see what happens in just a little bit.
Yeah, this is Supernova's preferred playstyle. You know, down about 2,000 gold, but scaling, and not in a threatened position. The only thing they kind of need to do right now is make sure they don't give up Baron and they don't give up Elder. You can even afford to give up Soul, and I don't normally say that here. Mountain Soul is a very, very strong combat soul, but it's not quite as key or critical here. Your skilling will be able to shred through that extra shield, through those extra resistances. The only real tank there is going to still be Fizzy, and maybe RBM building a couple of tank items here. So literally just defend the top half of the map, seed everything else if you have to.
Yeah, and that's going to be crucial for Supernova, just knowing what objectives to take. The macro game from AoE has been immaculate so far. They've been able to move around the map. Sure, Supernova are the ones with the 3 teleports, but Fizzy is basically a teleport summoner spell of his own, just all over the map. You don't really know where he is. And looking at that scoreline, 1-1 and 14 has been involved in 83% of his team's kills this game. And so already things are looking really good for them. We do see video games on our screen, and that video game is AoE Esports on the Baron.
Yeah, this is not a replay. This is live. They have gone right back to Baron. They fumbled it the last time. They don't even have a kill.
Flash on Maddie, still available. Sketch Streams is underneath the Baron, but the teleports have come in. Dogwings is out of position! He will take him down, and now with the Ragnarok sword, it's Supernova's fight to win. The Needlework will try and slow down the members of AoE, but Strompus is going to come in, hit a massive Emperor's Divide. He will fall in return. It's now a 4v4. Maddie is still really low. RBM going to come in with a kick and take him, but he'll fall down in return. Now it's up to Sketch Streams. Can he do the damage? Fizzy picks up the first jump forward from Sketch Streams. This is the Tristana that we wanted to see. And it's a 3-for-2 in favor of AoE, and they're headed right back to the Baron.
Oh my goodness, please don't, please don't. They started it up. It's not safe, Grapes. There's vision. They will see Rovex and Lynx come in. But what can you do about it?
Oh, maybe they can do just this. Go and kill the rest of them. Fizzy will try and run away, but not before Lynx goes down, and now it's Rovex in a bad situation. The substitute
ghost?
for Supernova is in a bit of trouble. Will get one kill in return onto Fizzy. The cow goes down, but what does it matter? An ace picked up for AoE, and they somehow get some sort of advantage. I don't even know if it's a win, but they definitely have the ace there.
TP used by Strompus to get back into the mid lane, and you know what? I think both teams walk away respectively. They got what they came for here. AoE, you know, they get the kills, and yeah, Supernova, they get the soul. they don't lose the Baron, and like we said, you can give up the soul here. It does make your fights harder, but it's okay to trade that for Baron. You just need to make sure the Baron doesn't go down. Now, a couple things to note about that last fight, Grapes. Darkwings did not get Shockwave off. Darkwings was just didn't even get to join that fight. TP'd in just to be served up on the silver platter. and AoE won that fight 4v5. 15-1 Tristana here, looking like it might go 16-1 at the rate they're going. Somebody needs to remove sketch streams. This is why I wasn't worried about Dark Wings, pardon me. I'm not worried about really big meme. The only person Supernova needs to be 100% focused on right now is sketch streams.
Yeah, and if it even makes it better, that 1000 shutdown on his head, just a little extra sign to say kill me. But right now it's AoE back on the Baron. Yeah, Supernova don't know, it's too late. Looks like that ward came in not in time. Sketchstreams will get the final auto in, and all of a sudden Baron Nashor's here, and whoa, Messi, where did you come from? Gets taken down as well, and now Fizzy with the Shirelles, with the extra movement speed, is gonna look for more.
AoE needs to remember tip their Uber driver here, their Uber Eats driver, because Fizzy just delivered that right to their doorstep. You're asking where Maddie came from? Maddie's asking where Fizzy came from.
Yeah, and now it looks like AoE are just gonna drive straight in to the base of Supernova. They have the Baron, they have the Soul, and they also have a 4v5 advantage. The inhibitor is no match for the AoE squad.
No, Graves. This can't be how it ends. They've got Baron buff, they're pushing in. Supernova, no Maddie. They have to do a 4v5, and I don't want this game to end, Graves.
Fizzy goes in, Strop is skin, a two-man shockwave from Dark Wings, and the carry for Supernova is down. Cozy is trying to do his darndest onto the backside, but he's gonna get taken down as well. Rovex gets bursted out. Maddie finally responds, but I think it's too late. The flash in from RBM will secure the insect, and Maddie goes down for the second time in 2 minutes. It's 28 minutes into the game, and AoE, they have proven to be a dominant team here in Proving Grounds. They will earn a spot into the playoffs of Risen Champions League with a 2-0 over Supernova.
Part of me, Graves, right now is still in disbelief that Supernova just went down like that. It was such a scrappy game. They were going back and forth. They lose one Baron. And tip for those who don't know, I mean, everybody knows already, but when your control ward is disabling a ward, do not hit the ward. It grants vision. And AoE just did it without touching a single ward. It was already too late by the time Supernova had any clue that AoE just had this fixation on Baron, was going right back over and over and over again to it. They had one job, guard the Baron. They filled it, and they just lost the game just like that.
And I'm so surprised that happened like that. We were in that pause, what seems like 2 minutes ago, thinking about all the ways that Supernova could come back, all the ways that they had to potentially look for a chance to go for that reverse sweep. But it wasn't enough at the end of the day. And AoE with that macro calls, going for the Baron, and Fizzy being so crucial on these Alistars, finding picks, and even just zoning Supernova off of anything that they would even consider to take, just leads to them taking the win just like that.
Yeah, and if there's one lesson I walk away with from this particular game, there's a lot of lessons, but the biggest one right now is ban Tristana, please. Grapes put out a video before this game saying ban the Tristana. And yeah, okay, I know Sketchstream says that he plays other things, that he's got like a 70-something% win rate on Varus and all that. 70-something. He's got a 90-something% win rate on Tristana right now. 60 now after this game. I'd love to get damage graphs. I don't know if that's possible, but if not, verbally, let me tell you this. Sketch Streams did 22,000 damage this game to champions. You look over the side of Supernova, you can pick any two members on their team, add their total damage together, and they do not beat that. The closest was Trumpus at 11,000. Half that damage there. This Tristana just needs to be banned.
And RMC, we were talking a little bit earlier on the game how sketch streams and the AD carries were like the weakest people at that stage in the game. Definitely didn't stay that way for long, as sketch streams shows why that Tristana is such a coveted pick to him. You heard Pukar say it on that podcast. Do not risk it. Do not even go for it. Don't let sketch streams get this pick. And it doesn't look like Supernova listened to him on that one.
No. That's it. I do want to give a huge shout out to Fizzy. He's super clean as a support. That last pickup we're talking about the fact that he felt like he had teleport off cooldown all the time, and he took Flash Ignite this game. He was just everywhere here. Absolutely monstrous. This bot lane, I said I wanted to see them step up. They certainly delivered tonight. I am so glad. I love RBM. I love Dark Wings. I love you guys, but I am happy that Sketch Streams and Fizzy overshadowed you tonight.
And it seems like that's something that we're going to start to see more and more often, honestly, with this AoE squad. Some of the big names on this team, RBM and Darkwing, did their job, but it was the other members, Faisal in game 1 on that Renekton and Sketchstreams on that Tristana in game 2, proving themselves to be worthy of a top Proving Grounds team here in Amateur.
Yeah. And on the other side here, Supernova, unfortunately, they get gate kept once again from playoffs by AoE. Two different teams now. very, very unfortunate. And I want to give huge props to them as well because they played it really, really well. Game one was messy, and the way they bounced back for game two, there was no mental problem at whatsoever there. Their mental was clean and their mental was fresh. Their draft as well, Coach Koso. I am still gapped by the way they got that Gwen and put in the bot
Well,
lane. It definitely worked. They were just short ever so slightly here, and they've still got one more proving grounds here in which they can one more tier two proving ground tournament in which they can still bounce back and secure a spot. And even if not, at, with their performances here, I'm pretty sure that they get enough points here to make the actual tournament, tier one tournament, anyways.
Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how the points end up working out, especially with the new format that they have this year with only one tier one tournament. But either way, it looks like Supernova have just fallen short by the slimmest of margins once again. And RMC, this team is, you call them the gatekeepers. They're kind of there at that border. And right now, it looks like the teams are on top are just the ones that are going to be moving forward.
Yeah, it feels like if you beat them, you move on. So we'll have to see how it goes here. Once again, commiserations to them and congratulations to AoE. I don't believe we have that the AoE randoms versus the Dig Natas Mirage game is done just yet. So we don't quite know who will be joining AoE here in the playoffs.
Yeah, but as you said, one ticket to playoffs already punched here in Group C, and that is from AoE Esports. That's going to do it for us here on the Supernova stream. We'd like to thank each and every one of you from tuning in and watching that crazy set of games that we had. RMC, anything?
Thanks to Hey It's Me in the back here production for some of the great shots we got there. Thanks for all the viewers for coming in and watching as well. It's been a blast, and hope to see you all around.
And that's going to do it here. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll see you in the next tier 2 tournament here, EGL, coming real soon here on the Supernova channel. So long.